I've been self-employed for a little over a year now, and I have to tell you, the perks of this job are not getting old anytime soon. Today's video is brought to you by NordPass's So Long Summer Sale, where you can save 74% on a 2-year subscription, plus get an additional 4 months on the house. NordPass makes managing your online passwords a breeze with their user-friendly desktop and mobile applications, allowing you to store all of your passwords in one location and access them from any device. And thanks to NordPass's zero-knowledge architecture, your passwords are encrypted on your own device before they ever reach their servers. Visit nordpass.com/craft and take control of your password management. That's nordpass.com/craft. Welcome back to Craft Computing, everyone. As always, I'm Jeff. Some people don't like mechanical keyboards, and I have to remind myself that's okay. It's just like people who prefer linear switches to clicky switches. You can be wrong, and we can still be friends. In fact, I had a girlfriend once who didn't like mechanical keyboards, and we've been married 15 years. EVGA seems to think that membrane keyboards aren't dead either, which is why they've introduced the EVGA Z12, a new budget offering to their existing lineup of Z-series keyboards. Overall, the Z12 is very well made for a budget keyboard. This is all plastic construction, meaning that there is no metal backplate. As such, there is some flex in the deck if you push down on it, but I didn't notice it much when I was typing or gaming. The main body of the keyboard has a textured matte black finish, and it doesn't seem to be a fingerprint magnet, which is kind of a rarity in the world of entry-level consumer electronics. There is a splash of piano black on the EVGA logo that's top and center, and while I'm never a fan of this finish, it does provide some nice contrast with the main keyboard body. This is a zone-based RGB keyboard instead of having individually addressable RGBs behind each key. They may not seem like the best option, but it does help keep the cost of the keyboard down. Overall, the lighting is very well diffused behind the keycaps, though not much of that light makes it through the tops of the keys themselves, making for more of a subdued look compared to your run-of-the-mill unicorn vomit designs. There are 5 RGB effects built into the keyboard, including Rainbow Wave, Zone Highlight, Single Color, 2-Color Breathing, and 7-Color Pulse. By default, single color is red only, and the breathing effect transitions from red to green and then back again. The only way to customize those effects is to launch EVGA's Unleash software and select other options. The RGB backlight has 16 levels of brightness and is adjustable from the function keys on the keyboard. There are also 9 user profiles that save directly to the keyboard itself. Profiles can include everything from custom lighting configurations to macro key assignments for on-the-fly switching between games, applications, or when switching users. Key layout is pretty standard with 104 keys, plus the 5 macro keys on the left-hand side. There is a single Windows key on the left and a function key to the right of the spacebar, but those are reversible in software if you'd prefer to swap them around. There is a game mode button to the left-hand side of the escape key, which disables keys and combinations that may interrupt your gaming session. Things like the Windows key, Alt-Tab, Alt-F4, etc. The combinations you'd like to disable can be selected in EVGA's Unleash software. By default, when you activate game mode, only the Windows key will be disabled. The top right of the keyboard has a dedicated set of media keys for play and pause, track forward and back, as well as a mute button. Volume is handled by holding function and pressing either F11 or F12, which I have to say I am not a fan of. I find myself adjusting volume on a gaming keyboard much more often than I do skipping forward on my Spotify playlist. I'd much prefer to see these key sets swapped around, giving me faster access to volume control. Key presses on the Z12 are surprisingly heavy and deep for a keyboard targeted at gamers, as light and shallow tend to be preferred by most. There's 3mm of total travel, and getting them to actuate requires more force than either of my Gateron Green keyboards. After only about an hour of use, I actually had a fair bit of fatigue both in my wrist and my hands. Again, as someone who prefers a fairly stiff mechanical switch, this was a bit surprising. I did try all 3 incline positions, as well as adding a wrist rest, but the Z12 was not comfortable, at least for me to use long term. Like all things ergonomic, your mileage is going to vary here, but this is going to take more effort to type on than a Logitech K120 or any budget mechanical brown or red switched keyboard. Even though this is a membrane keyboard, the keys themselves are fairly sturdy and don't have a lot of wobble to them. This is thanks to having a standard Cherry MX stem, which does support the keycaps higher up than most membrane keyboards. This also means you can swap out the keycaps for standard mechanical sets, despite this being a fairly inexpensive board. I'm not sure I would personally invest into a set of keycaps on a membrane keyboard, but it is nice to have that option. The Z12 is IP32 rated spill resistant, which won't save it from plunging to the bottom of a lake wearing concrete shoes. But if it were to suffer some sort of accident, it'll be much more likely to slough it off than other keyboards in this price range. And I think that's enough beating around the bush. Let's go ahead and talk price point and comparisons. The EVGA Z12 will be available tomorrow with an MSRP of $49.99 US. When I think of other budget mechanical keyboards I've reviewed in the past, it's hard to justify that price point against, well, any of them. I happen to have a couple Velocifier keyboards here, both with mechanical switches that ran anywhere from $25 to $60, depending on if you wanted a 10-key number pad or not, and either with wired or wireless connectivity. My daily driver for nearly 3 years was this, the Gamdius Hermes P2, which unfortunately isn't available anymore, but featured 100% key programmability, per-key RGB lighting, hot-swappable optical mechanical switches, and full metal construction for only $80. There are similar boards available on Amazon for this price point as well. EVGA will be offering the Z12 at an introductory price of just $24.99 for a limited time, and at that price it makes a lot more sense than it does at MSRP. With membrane keys, zone-based RGB lighting, and all-plastic construction, it just doesn't match up to some of the mechanical keyboards I showed off here at the $50 price point. But at $25, it does offer considerably more features than a standard membrane keyboard. I wouldn't recommend this as a daily driver for a typist, but if you are a gamer in need of RGB with a Logitech K120 budget, the Z12 might be exactly the middle ground you're looking for. Thanks again to EVGA for sending out the Z12 for my review, and standard disclaimer here applies. EVGA did send out the keyboard, but had no editorial input on this video, nor did they see it before it went live. If you're interested in picking up the Z12 for yourself, I will have affiliate links down in the video description. Also, if you're interested in any of the keyboard alternatives that I showed off today, I'll have those linked down below as well. On your way down there, make sure to drop this video a like and subscribe to Craft Computing if you haven't done so already. Follow me on Twitter at Craft Computing, and if you'd like to help support the channel, go and pick yourself out some Craft Computing merch. We've got hoodies, t-shirts, bottle openers, and glassware available at craftcomputing.store. That's going to do it for me in this one. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Cheers, guys. Beer for today is from Block 15 in Corvallis, Oregon. This is the Love Potion number 9, a chocolate raspberry stout, clocking in at 7%. The sweet stout was brewed with a tantalizing blend of specialty oak malts and conditioned on chocolate and delightfully tart combo of red and black raspberries. The most romantic concoction, Love Potion number 9, balances rich malt and chocolate flavors with a vibrant berry character. Very, very thick head on the top of this one. This is one of those dark chocolate-covered raspberry sticks you get at most fudge shops in the mall. I'll take this and 2 caramel truffles, please. Oh yeah. This is not an overly complex beer. Like I said, it's a dark chocolate raspberry stick. Not quite as smooth as I would like it. It's got a little bit more of a carbonated bite and a little bit more bitterness than I kind of wanted out of this, but it is still excellent.